Yeah, and I think one thing I want to bring to somebody's attention is because this is what I wish my co-host was here, so I can just really just dig in him. But even though he won't say much, he just be like, you right, I guess, But they're still my boys though. But Jimmy Uso, Jimmy Uso is in the news, ... again. And this is about either the third or fourth time arrest DUI has happened. He has had one back when they were the Island Usos. Back when he still had the individuals.
Yes.
Then he had one not too long ago where he tried to square up with a cop with Naomi in the car in Detroit. Bruh, I don't know where you think you're at, but that wasn't a good idea. Just be lucky that you're still alive today. And the most recent one is him, driving under the influence again.
Where was he at this time, did it say?
I think it was Florida.
So probably home.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, on the Raw reunion, the Usos come back and they want to bring back the Dr. Thugonomics, John Cena.
Of course.
And, John Cena like, yo, man, I ain't gonna get bested. He about the culture, like my man said, like Hugh Flo would say, he about that culture. So he comes out and says, you look just like your mug shots. How's it feel being arrested? Now I don't know. After Jay Uso shouted out the the police officer county that he got arrested in, they had to look on the faces. I was like, I hope Jimmy Uso don't do no shit like this again. Well, it looks like apparently that
not even a week later,
that is the case. So WWE released a statement that was a copy and paste statement of the last time.
And the last time Jeff Hardy got in trouble.
What it said that Jimmy Uso is responsible.
Oh no, they use his real name.
Oh, Jonathan Fatu.
Jonathan Fatu is responsible for his own actions. What? No, WWE, at some point, you gotta say something else.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess they got bigger problems going on. So, here's the thing I want to break down, because I was just talking to you about this before I hit that record button. And I want to say this about Jimmy Uso. I am beyond disappointed in Jimmy Uso. I'm actually borderline angry, if not already angry, at Jimmy Uso. Because, one, I've seen the Usos live. I've seen them perform. They're some very talented dudes right there. I have no problem with that, and they come from a very extensive family. But how many times do you have to get arrested for the same thing over and over again before it hits you? And I think with these situations that it hasn't hit him yet. It hasn't hit him at all. It hasn't. The reality hasn't sunk in that driving under the influence, like when you're alcohol, because look, we all had them prime moments. Anybody that's over the age of 21, or shit, even before the age of 21, especially men, had a prime moments where they get a little, but I'm not drunk, I can do that. And part of it is to show off. And part of it is, it's a pride thing. Like, I should be able to do all, so I'm not doing that drunk. And people don't really realize how drunk they are until sometimes they stand up.
Until you stand up. That's when it hits you. Like a sack of bricks.
Yeah, and everybody who drinks wants to be kind of like immortal, or wants to be like what they used to call my dad back in the day, like the rocker thing that always
the weeble wobble, but they don't fall down.
Exactly, we wobble, but they never fall down. That was his nickname back in the day.
No,
but I'm saying, but I know me. I didn't grow up in the South. I don't have them skills.
You don't have the tolerance.
I don't have the tolerance for that. Everybody does it, but for some reason, us men all want to have that tolerance, and all feels that we can do this stuff. And I don't truly think that he knows what danger he's putting himself into, other people, and his wife, his kids, his brother, his family, his legacy, his name, and his job's name. And it bothers me because every year we lose people to drunk drivers.
Yep.
And it's to the day we both close our eyes, there will still be drunk drivers, assholes on the street. And I know we're making strides to get rid of that.
We like people trying, but that don't mean they're gonna stop.
It don't mean they're gonna stop.
The crazy part about it.
And it's a very hard reality because I'm a kind of guy. Death happens. Mm-hmm. Death always gonna happen, and death is always gonna happen like the way you want it. It's not always gonna be justified. Mm-hmm. I kind of like squeal when at preventable deaths, deaths that could have been prevented, and sometimes things are just accident, like a freak accident, and there's some things that's just like you had the power to not do that.
True.
And getting in the car intoxicated and driving.
That's for the third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Because how many times? Who knows how many times he didn't get caught?
Good point. Yeah. Good. That's a good point. Also, how many times he didn't get caught. And it always had a personal core with me. I shared this story with my wife. I'm gonna share it real quick because when I was younger, in my teenage years, you know, I was for anybody in Philadelphia, I was on Roosevelt Boulevard. I know a lot of people that listen know about
a dangerous strip already.
Dangerous strip, exactly. For people who live in Philly, know about Roosevelt Boulevard.
People who live in the country, honestly, Roosevelt Boulevard, I think, was voted one of the worst roads in the nation. So that's wild.
Yeah, if people will just run lights, not pay attention, and then look, to be fair, you got people do some crazy ass jaywalking on Roosevelt Boulevard.
Yes, jaywalking, drag racing, all kinds of stuff.
So things are bound to happen. So me, my sister, and my mom were coming back from my dad's house, and because he lived in the Northeast and we lived over Mount Pleasant. Well, I was going over there. I lived with my dad at the time, so I was going over there to visit them. And we're sitting at a red light, and all of a sudden my sister screams, and all of a sudden our car lunges forward with all of us in the car, and then as we're trying to shake the cobwebs out and realize what the fuck happened, it's like a bomb went off in the back of our car. We see this other car, this truck. It was a truck, like a pickup truck, go around us and slam right into this SUV, a family of like a mother, father, and 3 of their kids. Now, I am proud to say on this podcast that everybody that was caught in that collision, at least at that time, survived. I don't know what happened after that. That was 10 plus years ago.
Yeah.
But what happened was that a guy was drunk driving, speeding down the boulevard, hit a car behind us so hard the car smacked in. We were stopped. Even the car behind smacked into us to make us go through the light, almost feet down the road, yards, I should say. And for him to come around and smack dead in the head on to this family. There are cases like this every year where an accident just like that happens and nobody makes it. Or it seems like there's always accidents like that and you always kill them kids. It's hurtful. And now you have Jimmy USO who goes out here and does this stuff. And you may think that you're big and bad and that won't happen to me. But whether you speed and because alcohol is a depressant, it will make you fall asleep. Everybody don't get drunk the same.
Yeah.
The body don't react to it all the same. You can easily fall asleep behind the wheel, and then all of a sudden your foot go down that pedal.
It gets even faster.
It gets even faster.
Because I've been in an accident like that. We were going 90, and the person who was driving fell asleep. And that's how we got to 90. We weren't driving 90, just driving that.
Yeah.
And we slammed into the back of a car in front of us on the boulevard. Like, the boulevard is just trash. And nobody was, as far as I know, seriously injured. In our car, I was the only one who was injured. So it's just like, you gotta be more aware. Like, come on. There's no reason to do this. I really think the problem here is he hasn't had to face any repercussions for his actions because of who he is. WWE is not punishing him. He's obviously not going to jail. So Because normally when you have this many DUIs, they take your license.
Yeah.
Or you go to jail. That you don't just get to keep driving. Now, mind you, his license could very well already be suspended and he's still driving. But either way, WWE, they always put out the same statement. Such and such is responsible for their own actions until something happens and that person or someone they got in an accident with dies, and some attorney comes up with the fact that, hey, WWE doesn't provide adequate health care, so my client had to self-medicate and got drunk and ran behind the wheel and he died, or somebody else he slammed into died. And then now you have a problem on your hands because you've created this, they're responsible for their own actions, instead of reprimanding them because they're in the public eye and they represent you.
Yeah, but once again, that's Vince McMahon playing favoritism, because even if you know the whole case thing, they're gonna come back with the independent contractor thing anyway. So
it doesn't matter because
it doesn't.
That's still your independent contractor or not, still your employer. We both know that crazier things have happened in courtrooms than somebody saying you and your company and the requirements that you set upon my client caused him to do this, just like CTE, just like Roy Rage, etc., etc. So it's not like it can't be done. To be honest, for the well-being of him and anyone else he could hurt, he needs to be reprimanded somehow. If the legal system's not gonna do it, you should do it, because he still represents you, independent contractor or not, and whether he's responsible for his own actions. It's like people get buried for way less, and you are let him be in title matches the next, like it hasn't been a week, and they're in a title match. I'm confused. I'm baffled by the whole thing. And before we got on air, I was saying, well, where's Naomi at? And it's just like, he's a grown man. She can't be responsible for his actions at all times. But it's just like somebody has to be able to get through it to him. Her, a family member, a co-worker who he's, especially cool with. Nobody can seem to get through to him. Like, maybe he has a problem if that's the case.
Well, we say nobody because we don't see nobody because we don't work there. It could be a thing where people are talking to him. It could be a thing where people are like, they get into him, and then all of a sudden it's kind of falling off the rails, because it'd be like he'll have a DUI arrest, and then years we don't hear nothing, then he has something else, and then months go by. It's like nowadays it's starting to move a little bit closer.
It is.
But I can't say, people like Roman or Naomi or Jay even, or anybody, any other family he has been there, or friend or anything of that nature, aren't trying to do things to help him.
That's why I said maybe they are, but he just has a problem that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Because it may not be that they're not trying to get through to him, or they haven't tried to have an intervention, or whatever you want to call it, with him. He might just have a serious problem at this point. Because you don't have 3 DUIs and you don't have some kind of issue. Whether it be you have a drinking problem or a listening problem, because I'm sure somebody in passing had to be like, bruh, you probably shouldn't drive. I don't know what your problem is, but you don't get behind the wheel and get caught 3 times and there's nothing wrong. Because there's just too many things to prevent you from doing that.
So if WWE is going to throw us under the rug, because there are a lot of wrestlers that are not on TV or getting punished for stuff that's way less.
Exactly.
And I do believe, as much as I love the Usos, as much as they're good entertainment, and as much as good matches they give me, if this happens again, he needs to be fired. Put in rehab.
I can't dispute that.
He needs to be fired.
Here's the thing. I could see them putting him in rehab first and writing them off TV and bringing him back when they feel he's better. Because if they feel like he's that much of an asset that he's gotten away with it this many times, they're not going to just fire him off rip. And you know that. So I can see them saying, look, we're going to put you in rehab. You got to finish this program, and you'll be on probation for X amount of days or months before, and if anything happens, we're going to fire you. I could totally see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the crime is, there's no punishment for the crime, and so it doesn't fit, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, we don't really know for sure. We don't hear that there's punishment for the crime, but as far as we can see, nothing has changed.
Mm-hmm.
He's going about regular old, their regular schedule. There's nothing changing. So I don't know. I'd say I agree with you, but I'd say they wouldn't fire him. They may try the intervention route, depending on who's behind him in the back.
Fair enough. So somebody out there, wrestlers, people that know him, his cousin that be in the front rows, if y'all could talk to him, because this is also an issue, and people out there who are struggling with this, if you know you're struggling with, go get help, because it's a selfish act to get in the car and to drive off, and when you're intoxicated, because as soon as you do that, not only your life, you put everybody else's life in danger, and you shouldn't have to take you shouldn't have to take children away from their parents away from their children, or wives away from their husbands away from
anybody. Just because you don't have to be linked to someone to matter. You can be in a car all by yourself and not have family or anybody. They shouldn't lose their life because you were irresponsible. Let's be honest here.
That's exactly right. So that kind of stuff it's a very selfish act, especially. I don't use them because I just don't know how, but I need to learn though. But when it comes to Uber, Lyft, and all the other stuff that's coming out and stuff now, there really is no excuse.
Shit, call a friend.
But
you don't gotta pay for that.
Even still, but if you got there is no excuse. We're getting to the point where there's almost no excuse.